morning, everyone. Here is, thanks to some sharp-eyed viewers who found one of my pentagram or one of my pyramids was out of whack yesterday because I hurriedly taped them back into shape there. But here is our tablet of union. That's the Exharp Hakama Nanta Batum. Now, even though we opened up the can of worms about this tablet yesterday, we're going to talk a lot more about it in the coming days. But anyway, this way you can see that from this direction, it's primarily yellow, blue, green, red for air, water, earth, fire. Enochians love that order for some reason. And when we look at it from that angle, we can see that we've got air, water, earth, fire in the columns. So, just to kind of review things, this Exharp being air, this spirit of air would be like the Ace of Swords. And this air of air would be like the Prince of Swords in tarot. And this water of air would be like the Queen of Swords. And this earth of air would be like the Princess of Swords. And this fire of air would be like the Knight or King of Swords. So you can see how you'd have all 16 of your court cards here, and they all live inside that ace. So even though this looks like a tablet, all of them being equal size, we could actually imagine that these four all live inside a big giant one of these. And I'll show you that, I'll illustrate that more clearly in the coming days, because I got even bigger toys in back of those curtains. Anyway, my foot hurts. Did you see my wrapped up foot there? And my team of medical experts here, they're helping me. It is getting better though, so I don't want to give you the gruesome details because they're not all that gruesome. It's just, I fell down on my foot the night before last, and but anyway, it goes with the territory when you're 72 years old. So we're on chapter 25 of Enochian Vision Magic, and the title of the chapter is, quote, "There is All." We're coming to the close of our discussion about Dee and Kelley's almost 3 years of intense magical operations talking with angels. And that during that period, they brought in, they received all of the information and more that eventually went in constructing the Enochian magic system as is practiced today. It starts off with an epigram from the Archangel Gabriel. On Monday, July 9th, 1584, this is just a few days before the climax of their operations. Now, they'd been talking with the angel Ave, and they were talking with this huge revelatory angel Nalvij, who was bringing in this creme de la creme of the system. Dee and Kelley, for almost over 2 years, had been attuned, fine-tuned by the reception of the Heptarchic system and the Loa-Ga'ath period. And they were now primed. They had been mutated enough to start to receive this really good goodies. Okay. But the angels, it seemed, needed some time to knock off a bunch of rough edges of Dee and Kelley's consciousness before they were proper vessels, I guess we could say, to receive this material. And that preparation period I've tried to distill and lump up in our little preparation ritual prior to doing Enochian vision magic. We'll get to that more a little later. But they were trying to get Nalvage Nalvage told them that there was a deadline of August that they had to, the angels were just going to stop talking to them in August. So they wanted to get all of this material in at the last minute. And boy, it was a lot of material. It was the Enochian language, the calls, the calls of the 30 aethers, the calls that the 18 calls that opened up the elemental universe, and that these calls were going to be a key to accessing those levels of universal consciousness and for talking with those angels. And so they were rushing. The material was just flowing in abundance. And Nalvage was the main contact at that time. And so one day on Monday, July 9th, they were trying to get a hold of Nalvage, and they got a busy signal. And instead of getting Nalvage, the angel Gabriel came on the line. And this is what it says. Gabriel said, Nalvage is called away and can't be in action with you until Wednesday. Really? Then shall you have the calls that you look for, and so enter into the knowledge and perfect understanding of the 49 gates and tables, if you will. Nalvage can't come to the phone right now, but he'll be here Wednesday and give you all those calls and the keys to the knowledge and understanding of the 49 gates and tables, if you will. Okay. Early in July of 1584, the two magicians were busy trying to tie up loose ends before a mysterious August deadline. On July 7th, the angel Ave waxed eloquent about how how Enoch made tablets such as those Dee and Kelley now possessed, and had labored 50 days in prayer and confession before receiving a supreme revelation. It appears from the communication that the two magicians were to do likewise. In a breathtakingly short amount of time, Dee and Kelley received the translations of the remaining angelic calls, 5 through 18, which they had 6 weeks earlier received in the angelic tongue, together with tantalizing hints that the 18 calls might be connected to the tablet of union and the 4 elemental tablets. On Thursday, July 12th, the angel Elemis began to deliver a 19th call, together with its translation. This call was said to be actually 30 calls, bringing the total number of calls to 48. If we add the unexpressed first call, see chapter 16, which I at least have associated with the tablet of Nalvage, we have a grand total of 49. And we know the angels love things in powers of 7. The next day, Friday the 13th, 1584, Dee's 57th birthday. Elemis delivered the remaining portion of the 19th call and revealed that it was the key to accessing the 30 airs, or heavens connected to the 91 parts of the earth. Lastly, he revealed the names of the 30 airs, which until then had only been identified as numbers. See chapter 19. The 19th call was a master call to be used to access each of the 30 aethers. Now, a while ago, I recorded the 19th call, specifically the one that opened up text, the 30th or lowest aether, and I put it on YouTube. And I found the link to that YouTube call, or that YouTube video, and I posted it directly below this this video on my Facebook page today. So if you'd like to hear the haunting version of me reciting the 19th call, you can do that right today. The 19th call was the master call to be used to access each of the 30 aethers or airs. The only thing that differentiated the 30 calls from one another was the insertion of the name of the particular air in the first line. So the first line is Madrias dies prof. And then the name of the 30th aether would be Tex. So it would start off Madrias dies prof Tex. And to open up the 29th air, which is called Re, you'd say Madriax dies prof Re. And that's the only thing that differentiates that one little word. So yeah, the only thing that differentiates the 30 calls from one from another is the insertion of the name of the particular air in the first line. Elemis delivered the names of the airs as a simple list and then engaged in a brief exchange with Dee and Kelley. And here's the list, and it goes from top to bottom, or the highest to the lowest in the list that he gave. And the highest, or the first air, is called Lil. They're all 3-letter names. Going down, Lil, Arn, Zom, Paz, Lit, Maz, Dio, Zid, Zip, Zax, Ich, Loe, Zim, Uta, Oxo, Lia, Tan, Zen, Pop, Kr, Asp, Lin, Tor, Nya, Uti, Des, Za, Bug, Re, Tex. That's the 30th text. It's the closest one. It's the closest level of angelic heavenly consciousness, closest to the elemental world. Now, some of you who didn't get enough sleep last night are probably drifting into text even as you're listening to this. I mean, it's not the highest of the levels of consciousness, but it's up there. Here's the exchange from Elemis and Dee. Elemis said, "There is all. Now change the name, and the call is one. And D says, blessed be he who only is always one. I take these names to be as primus, secundus, tertius, and to 30. And a voice says, not so. They be the substantial names of the aethers. And then D says, hey, it was said that they had no proper names, but they were to be called, O thou of the first air, O thou of the second. I pray you to reconcile the repugnancy of these two places as they should seem. Okay. Cutting through the Elizabethan Shakespearean flowerness. When Elemis first told Dee and Kelley about these aethers, they said they were to be only identified by their number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And in this communication, Elemis said they have a name. They have a name too. Tex, Re, Bag, Lil, Zom, Zip. Okay. And he's saying, yes, these are the names of the aethers. Call them by name. They have names. And D lost his temper with the angel over this little discrepancy. Say, wait a minute, you told me they were just numbers. Now you're telling us that if they're... No, don't screw with us like that. Honest, he threw a hissy fit over this little minutia. D's testiness evoked a response from none other than the Archangel Gabriel, who was sitting nearby in Kelley's vision during Elemis's discourse. The great angel stood up and informed the magicians they now possessed the knowledge they needed. He encouraged them to study and prepare for the august operation, and then after one more little jab at D's cheekiness, delivered a most poignant valediction. Kelley is describing what's going on. The curtain is open. Now Gabriel standeth up. Gabriel speaks. Thus hath God kept promise with you, and hath delivered you the keys of his storehouses, wherein you shall find, if you enter wisely, humbly, and patiently, treasures more worth than the frames of the heavens. But it is not August come. Notwithstanding, the Lord hath kept his promise with you be the time. Therefore, now examine your books, confer one place with another, and learn to be perfect for the practices and entrance. See that your garments be clean. Herein be not rash, nor over hasty. For those who are hasty and rash are loathsomely apparelled. You may knock long before they enter, or they may knock long before they enter. There is no other reading of the book, but the appearing of the ministers and the creatures of God, which shew what they are themselves, shew how they are conjoined in power and represented formally by those letters. That's pretty serious talk there. Kelley says, now he taketh the table and seems to wrap it up together. D says, seeing I have moved the doubt of their names, I pray you to dissolve it. Gabriel says, you play with me childishly. D, I have done. Gabriel says, thinkest thou we speak anything that is not true? Thou shalt never know the mysteries of all things that have been spoken. If you love together and dwell together and in one God, then the selfsame God will be merciful unto you, which bless you, comfort you, and strengthen you unto the end. More I would say, but words profit not. God be amongst you. Kelley says, now they both be gone in a great flame of fire upwards. Thus, in a dramatic burst of flame, the angels of Enochian Magick fell silent. And the most amazing magical operation ever recorded came to an end. Unfortunately, we don't know if the two magicians actually performed the 50-day operation scheduled for August. Surviving diary entries for the month treat on other matters. What we are left with, however, is an elegant and remarkable coherent system of vision magic. For those of us who have made Enochian Magick part of our spiritual quest, Gabriel's parting words ring profoundly true. God did keep promise with Dee and Kelley, and delivered unto them and to us the keys to the storehouse wherein we shall find, if we enter wisely, humbly, and patiently, treasures worth more than the frames of heaven. Tomorrow we start Book 4, Putting It Together. I hope you're enjoying Enochian Vision Magic and will wish to be with me tomorrow. We're going to put it all together. And perhaps before it is all over, we will do one small public scrying session. We'll actually perform a little Enochian Vision Magic. But that'll be a few days from now. So until then, and let's keep your fingers crossed for my foot. I think it's getting better. Continue to be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.